Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode's a pre-fight show for UFC Fight Night, Volkov versus Struve, heavyweight clash of the ages. One of my main favorite fighters, Stefan the Skyscraper Struve, going up against former Bellator heavyweight champ Alexander Volkov, and this is a clash of the ages. I'm so glad we can get back to MMA now that the whole boxing fiasco is over. Um, and so yeah, this is a UFC Fight Pass card, and this is a star-studded card. You got Leon Edwards, you got Brian Barberena, Marion Renault. You have the main event, Darren Till. You have so many big names on this card. So this is a pre-fight rundown of the main card with my predictions, so let's get started. So the main event in the heavyweight division is Alexander Volkov versus Stefan Skyscraper Struve, and they're both tall, lengthy, obviously big heavyweights. They don't barely make heavyweight, they are smack dab in the middle of that heavyweight weight limit. Easily, and I think Stefan Struve will use his height and reach and get the knockout in the second round. I think he's going to have to find his rhythm in that first round, and I think he's going to keep his distance enough where he won't get knocked out by Alexander in the first round, hopefully. But I mean, Alexander, he could go 5 rounds. He was, Bellator heavyweight champ, and I remember watching his fights going, man, this guy's a beast. This guy could tear through people. And yeah, he's walked right through Roy Nelson. And Stefan Struve, he is a guy that, in my opinion, should have been fighting for the belt years ago. Had he just found his reach with each of his fights, then he would have avoided getting knocked out. And I think his trainers know that, and they see that, because he's allowed some of his past opponents to get within his reach and just hit that chin of his. And once they do, it's a long night for Stefan Struve. So I think that Struve has learned from his mistakes in the past, and he gets the job done, and he wins by second round knockout. Then in the middleweight division, in the co-main event, we have Zahir Bahadurzada, versus Rob Wilkinson. And Wilkinson is the younger guy. He is on a huge win streak. I believe he's undefeated. And Zahir, he's been sort of hit and miss in the UFC. Zahir does have the Dutch crowd, having lived there, immigrated there. He will have somewhat of a home field advantage in that sense, and being a veteran in the game. But Rob Wilkinson, I think, is the younger guy. He's coming into the UFC with something to prove, and he wants to prove it, and he wants to make a statement. And I think he gets it done by decision. I think he wears out Zahir. I think after the first round, Zahir starts to slow down, and then the second and third round are all going to be Rob. Zahir might be able to squeak out the first round and win the first round, so I'm predicting 29-28 unanimous decision for Rob Wilkinson. Then in the women's bantamweight division, we have Marion Renault versus Talita Bernardo, and this fight it's pretty interesting because Talita has something to prove, but Marion Renault at 40 years old has something to prove too, and she wants to prove that she still belongs in the UFC. Her last fight, I believe, ended in a draw. Let's see. Was it a draw? Yeah, it was a draw, and it was against Betch Kohea. And she's had a couple losses along the way as well. and she needs a win. And I think she's trained hard for this fight, and she was already on this card, and she has a late replacement opponent. And I think she's focused. She has an underrated ground game. Her striking's not too shabby. And so I think Marion Reneau gets it done here. And I'm picking Reneau by unanimous decision. I think she does. She just gets that win against Toledo. And but I mean, obviously at this point in her career, every fighter is going to be younger than her and have that gas tank that she has to go up against. But I think Marion Reneau could win this fight, and it'll be an interesting fight because this fight will pretty much make or break Marion Reneau's career. If she wins, she stays in the UFC. If she loses, she might be on the chopping block. And Toledo, obviously, her making her big debut here, she needs to win to really stay in the game. If not, you know, usually 2 or 3 losses after your debut, you get cut. So both these fighters are going to be fighting with something to prove. But I think Marion Reneau gets it done. I think she mixes things up and she wins each round decisively on points, mixing things up, maybe get some takedowns, land some good strikes in the stand-up, works her head movement, and yeah, gets it done any way possible, wherever she sees fit. I think if there's submission open, she'll go for it. But yeah, I got Reneau by unanimous decision. Then in the welterweight division, to kick off the main card, we have Leon Edwards versus Brian Barberena. Now this one I went back and forth on because Leon Edwards, tough, durable veteran. I mean, he's had some flashy knockouts. Brian Barberena, blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. However, I think he's a purple belt level, and I think this guy likes to wrestle and take things to the ground, and I think he will eventually initiate the ground game. I think after eating 1 or 2 hard shots from Leon Edwards, he's going to wait a second, why don't I just take this to the ground? And then once he does, though, I think those takedowns will just, as the fight goes on, will open up more and more for him, and Brian Barberena will win this fight by takedowns. I don't know if he'll get a submission, but I'll say he wins points on takedowns and wins the fight by unanimous decision. Yeah, because I can picture him getting at least 1 or 2 takedowns per round, and then that winning him the round. So yeah, Brian Barberena by unanimous decision. So there you have it. There's my predictions on this exciting card exclusively on UFC Fight Pass. Stay tuned in the coming days for my post-fight of this. And until then, I will see ya.